The purpose of the Global CFO Council is to provide an educational and networking forum for senior financial executives in order to share best practices, discuss current financial issues, and to learn about current topics related to the performance of their jobs.
Good afternoon where I am. Good morning where you are. How are you doing, Ali?
I'm doing fantastic. Thank you, Robert.
I'm excited to have you here. Ali Firoozi is the CFO of the PAC Group, or when you're trying to charge your customers more, the PAC Group.
That's right.
And we were just talking, you're from hailing out of California, but the company's out of Troy, Michigan. So you've been doing this remote thing for a while. You're a pro now.
Oh, yeah. Remote life has been my life for the past 7 years when I've been at the PAC Group. I would travel a lot to our Michigan headquarters, but I also manage our global team remotely the rest of the time when I'm not visiting them. I can't be in 12 countries at the same time all the time. So remote work has actually been my life. I just do more of it this year. And the added benefit of not being on a 13-hour flight to Shanghai is not the worst thing in the world.
Amen. Amen. It sounds like a cool company, too. I was looking up the PAC Group. Looked like a consulting firm. I watched your promo video. You had very cool Gantt charts. I hadn't seen that kind of Gantt chart in a while. It looks like you guys do some construction management, some engineering management, manufacturing consulting, a bunch of different things all over the globe. It looked very cool.
Yeah, we work primarily with automotive OEMs. That's how the company started in 1984 when the principals founded it, working with Ford, General Motors, the big three back in the day. And since then, we've worked with pretty much all the household names you'd know, EV companies, traditional companies. We've been in defense, we've been in food production, but mostly automotive OEMs, which is great because I'm a petrol head kind of guy. So to get to see the secret sauce of how a car is made behind the scenes and how complex it is tremendous fun. Never a dull day, always interesting.
I have noticed a theme is that there is a greater than the standard distribution of the world population. There are more gearheads as senior financial executives than you'd expect. So I am also a bit of a car fanatic. Let us not get into this, or we'd never get to the interview part. But that is awesome to know. Ali, I think you also had about 15 years of senior financial leadership in financial institutions before joining the PAC Group. And it looks like you got your undergraduate in international finance from Loyola and your MBA in business administration and finance from California State. Is that correct?
That's right. That's right. Yeah.
And I don't know what it is, but it looks like you're pursuing a CFA.
Yeah. So CFA, and for anyone thinking about pursuing it, I highly suggest you don't. It's a lot. It's a chartered financial analyst. So the idea behind it, and usually when people find out I'm pursuing it, they ask me, "Oh, so you want to run a hedge fund or you want to be on Wall Street?" And I go, "Actually, no, it's not." That's the purpose that oftentimes people acquire it. That's not the purpose that I'm looking to acquire it. It really is what I would qualify as the real master class in finance. Everything, it's an inch deep, but it's a mile wide. So you go through everything in finance, how to value investments, all types of calculations. It's tremendously laborious. Now, I enjoy because I'm just a numbers guy by nature. I'm the weird guy that likes a spreadsheet, which is interesting. We'll get into that a little bit more later. But it's really a great deal of challenge. I do enjoy that part, but all kidding aside, it's a tremendous amount of work. So unless you really, really need it, I steer clear of it.
That's awesome. Ali, let's get into it. Question number one. What is your favorite business book and why?
It's a tough question because sometimes considered a little unorthodox. I'd say my favorite book, if I had to label it, and that's difficult because I have difficulty labeling favorite things in my life. I don't really have a favorite song or favorite color and all of that stuff. But if I had to pick a favorite book, probably be a book called Black Swan. It's by an author called Nassim Taleb. And I think it's tremendously helpful. It should be more required reading, I think, in business schools everywhere. I enjoyed it on two different levels. It's philosophically very engaging for me from a theoretical point of view. But really the content of the book is centered around discussing what you cannot expect, which is a little counterintuitive. It discusses how to start looking for your blind side, how to know the things you don't even know that you don't even know, and really forces introspective look. Again, both you can look at it in a personal way and in a business way. There's a number of business scenarios that are referred to in the book. They go back to everywhere from 1987 financial crash to discuss the 1929 crash. It really discusses how to look out for the thing that you're not expecting. That's that rogue wave that topples everything over. It's tremendously insightful for me. Every time I go back and reread it, I pull out something else. It's helped in my risk mitigation thinking, helping you think differently about things around you. And you can apply it personally. So I like things that carry multiple uses in life. And I think that is a perfect example of a book that kind of helps everywhere.
How timely is that? It is right in the middle of a pandemic. Well, we all as financial people know we should be doing some scenario planning and best and worst case. But worse than that, the tsunami scenario, how would you handle that? I got to do a reread. I read that in college and I've completely forgotten it because that was like 30 years ago. So thanks for bringing that. Question number 2 is, what's the best advice that you've ever received?
I think the best advice I ever received was really tremendously simple. And it boiled down to inspire people as a leader to do their best and don't order them to do tasks as a manager. I've seen a number of examples of that in my professional career. There's sometimes that even in the short run, the quote unquote manager type of philosophy wins out. Typically they lead by fear, stand on authority only, micromanage people, or sometimes don't micromanage people, just tell them what they want and oftentimes don't equip them, don't resource them, just expect the result. And sometimes they win out in the short term, but long term, I have always found that advice to be true. The leaders who make people love what they're doing, love who they're working for, and they understand the vision. Mind you, that includes allowing them room to fail. You have to allow people to fail. If you expect progress to occur without any failures along the way, you're at best being naive, and at worst, you're self-sabotaging your mission. People learn through experience. We've all learned that way. So if you just inspire people to go to where you want them to go, you sell the vision. That's how you build a successful team. Sports team, accounting team, sales team, doesn't matter what you apply to. You can even apply to personal life. It's just one of those simple golden nuggets of advice in life that I've found to be tremendously helpful.
Amen. Ooh, Ollie's bringing it today, folks. I got a high bar for question number 3, which is, what is a tool that you've recently started using or a habit that you've recently picked up that you have found beneficial?
Another simple one. You're gonna see a lot of simple motifs in my life. I get older, things seem to get more complex, and I look for really simple, straightforward ways through them. And what I started doing in this past year, morning meditations. Every morning I open my Calm app. It's 5, 7, 10, 3 minutes, whatever that day's thing is. It sets the tone for my entire day. So whether I'm up at 5:30 or 6 or 6:30, whenever I get up, if I have to be up for a particular call, then so be it. But I usually get up pretty early on my own. So while everything's quiet, relatively dark, there's still a peace and calm around. Take a few moments, just go through that. And it's a real great mental exercise. The same way you might get up and go work out in the gym. I have CrossFit for that. That does the body, but I really rely on my mind often. We're looking at a lot of personal issues, professional issues. You have a lot of balls in your head bouncing around. You're trying to solve a lot of issues. There's a lot of stress, especially in a year like this past year. So you have to equip yourself and give the mind a way to format and path its day forward. And for me, it's been absolutely valuable. I'll do it for the rest of my life.
Ali, what about the best part of your current job?
Oh, that's easy. developing, training, and setting up my team for advancement, whatever that looks like to them. Some of them want to just be really good at the job they're in. Some of them want the next job. Small group of them hopefully want my job at some point, which is absolutely fine. That's what motivates me in my work, is what can I do with my team to better the lives of those who are contributing around me. Again, goes back to, I'll draw the analogy back to my leadership team concept from my answer to you earlier. When you ask that of people, when you want people to give of their own time, of their own free will, go above and beyond, do things you're not asking them to, take initiative, solve problems, well, then you got to give something back to them. And this is the way you give back. You show that you care about them, you care about their career. Does just as much for me as it does for them. It's a complete win-win.
I think that's important too. You bring up the point that you got to manage people like they want to be managed, and everyone's so different. I know coming up, I kind of assumed everybody had the same desires and of both how they like to manage and how they like to be managed, and it's just not true. And also, people have completely different life goals. You know, I might assume everybody's really ambitious and wants to be the CFO, and a lot of people just, I don't want any employees. I've got a life and a family and a hobby that I really love, and I just want to get out of here and earn a paycheck and go do my hobby. And I think that's really important, Ali, to bring up that idea, have that open up the aperture and have visibility and to your employees' desires. So very important.
That's right.
Very important.
Yeah. Whatever motivates them, find that button, and that's the button that matters to that person. It's your job as a leader to figure it out. It's really not their job to tell you, because sometimes they don't even honestly know. You have to figure it out. That's the key part of a leader's job. Yeah.
Ali, what about something personal that you wouldn't mind sharing about yourself with the rest of the CFO Council members?
Sure. I actually started doing something a few years back. I'm always trying to find purpose and meaning in the things that I'm doing. And I had a lot of really great people be generous with their time during my career, going back to the very, very beginning. A lot of people really gave me their time when they didn't have to. It was of their own free will. That type of concept, as just mentioned, even with training the staff, has always been important to me. So what I do on my free time, I'm actually an Everwise mentor. That's a company that matches mentors that are later on or at different points in their career, typically further along, with individuals that are typically earlier in their career or have maybe hit a point where they've bottlenecked and they need advice on how to proceed, or they feel stuck, or they need perspective, whether it's how to carry presence in a meeting, convince others. It's not typically skill set related of the technical parts of finance and accounting. It's really more about that coaching, mentoring part. And maybe they are not receiving exactly what they need in their own firm. So Everwise matches the two. And that's just something I do on my personal time. I've been doing it for close to 5 years now.
Wow, that's really cool. I've never even heard of that. I'm going to have to check that out. What an awesome thing. It's as we move up the ladder, we got to look back down and help the next person up. So well done.
Thank you.
Ali, question number 6, last question. It happened so fast. What is something that I didn't ask you, but I should have asked you? And what is your answer to that?
All work and no play makes everyone something. So the question would be, what do you do for fun? And my answer is, in all this calm and meditation and helping others, I race cars. So I head out to a racetrack, and fortunately in California, we have a number of really nice racetracks. I've been to Streets of Willow, Big Willow Springs, obviously it's referred to, Button Willow. I've been to Laguna Seca multiple times. So that's what I do. I get out there and get myself deep into the triple digits or look for an apex on a turn. And it's an absolute blast. In that moment, you are very much like when I'm doing a CrossFit workout. Everything else washes out of your mind. The only thing 100% that you're focused on is exactly what you're doing in that moment. And I find that it's invigorating. I mean, for lack of a cliche, it brings you into the moment of life at that point. You're focused on one thing. You're not multitasking. You're not thinking about a grocery list or who you got to pick up or a family member's issue or a reporting deadline you get coming up in work. I'm doing 163 miles an hour right now. When should I brake for this next turn?
That is awesome. Ollie, I knew when you popped your screen up, you know, a handsome bald man with a little bit of a beard. I was like, man, I kind of like this guy already. And then you bring racing and cars into the mix, man. That is my jam. This interview is going to go a little long because I need to know a little bit more. Are we talking high performance driving schools? Are we talking wheel to wheel racing? What are you exactly into, and what are you driving?
Okay, so I've done the driver schools. I've done the high performance days. When we do the racetrack, we don't do the wheel to wheel because I take my own cars on these things, and I'd like my car to make it home. So really, what we're doing is we'll usually be in point by groups where, for safety, you'll point the group by that's whoever's behind you. If they're stuck, out of respect, you just kind of point them by, let them go by you. So it's not wheel to wheel, and we don't necessarily do it for time, although you're trying to improve all the time, and maybe an app or something is possibly timing you. I don't know, but and as for cars, I take two cars out on the track. One is my Lexus. It's a GSF, and usually surprises people because they see a four-door Lexus sedan on the track, and they're always a little perplexed at these school days. And there's tons of Porsches, there's Ferraris, typically Lotuses, and everything else, and they see this large four-door sedan roll in, and everyone kind of gives me a little bit of gaze, and then we get on track and go, not bad for a 2-ton sedan. And I more recently picked up a 2003 NSX, and that's tremendous fun on the track. That's
wow,
car.
It's
a blast to drive.
Wow, Ollie, you're now top 2 most liked member of the Global CFO Council of the NSX. That is super awesome. What a great machine. I mean, it has the design elements of an exotic car and the reliability of a Honda, and just an amazing, amazing vehicle. They're just beautiful, timeless classics. And I think they've already seen a rise, but I think you've just bought into a car that will do nothing but appreciate. So,
yeah, there's so few of them. I mean, they only, in total, there was 800 sold for their final fixed headlight version production over technically a 5-year run. They're so rare. There's a half dozen for sale in the country. The price is going up every day. It's just, like you mentioned, it's a car that you could drive every single day if you wanted to. Oil changes are not $1,000 like on your Ferrari. It's spectacular. I think I relate to it because it's what I would be if I was a sports car. You know, practical, reliable. It's a timeless design. I think it looks even better as time ages and new designs come out. It still looks like something that you might go into a showroom and be able to buy today. So I think it appeals to me in that way.
Well, Ollie, I have truly enjoyed this conversation. Thank you for taking the time to speak with us, and I enjoyed getting to learn a little bit more about you.
I appreciate the invitation. Great to speak to you as well.